When I turned 13 years old, I was told I'd never need my rescue inhaler again. For years, I had it tied to the very fiber of my being, as I had no idea when an asthma attack would occur or how severe its symptoms would be. And according to the CDC, in June of 2019, 25 million Americans are in the same position as I was, wondering when their next asthma attack will be and whether their rescue inhaler will be there for them when it occurs. However, due to recent advances from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, doctors and patients could find an uncommon ally: deep learning algorithms, which is when a patient's data is taken and then uploaded to a computer and then compared to tens of thousands of other patients. And then an algorithm determines the likelihood of a patient developing a disease or an illness and within what time frame, potentially leaving eras of waiting and hoping behind in favor of predictive learning. So today, we'll discuss how these algorithms work, then their current applications in identifying and finding COVID-19, and finally, their future implications. First, to background. According to the CDC, in June of 2019, 25 million Americans have asthma. That's 1 in 13. And 11.4 million reported a serious asthma attack within the last 12 months alone. And according to the National Institute of Health, in June of 2018, in the past, predictive algorithms have only told patients information that they already knew. For example, instead of telling patients when they would have an asthma attack, these algorithms only told them the likelihood of one occurring within 6 to 12 months, leaving many patients in the dark. However, according to recent advances from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology on breast cancer research, we could apply this to asthma detection as well. And here's how it works. A patient with asthma goes into a doctor's office and takes a test, which is the volume of air that can push out of their lungs in a specific period of time. Then this data is taken and then uploaded to a computer and compared to tens of thousands of other patients. Then, according to MIT on May 7th of 2019, this algorithm can correctly determine the likelihood of a patient developing an asthma attack within the next 7 days, 73% of the time correctly. And MIT theorizes that if this algorithm was rolled out across the United States, it could save hundreds of lives of those who are most vulnerable to this disease every single year. And that's just for one illness. Now that we've discussed how these algorithms work, we can now move to their current applications. With an interview with Bill Gates by Vox on May 27th, 2015, where he theorized that within the next 30 years, the likelihood of a disease more infectious than Ebola appearing is higher than 50%. And considering the fact that I'm currently recording this on a camcorder in my bedroom because I'm in quarantine, Bill Gates was right. So in 2015, he worked with the Centers for Disease Modeling in order to model the 1918 Spanish flu, to figure out where the next pandemic might start. And using the precursor to MIT's model, he found that much like Ebola did in 2012 and 2013, that this new disease would appear in West Africa first, and much like Ebola, spread largely locally. Then, by day 100, be in every major population center across the globe, killing over 770,000 people in the process. And he wasn't far off from predicting the coronavirus either. He actually theorized that the Hubei province of China, where the city of Wuhan is currently residing in, is the second most likely place for disease to spread, because SARS appeared there in the early 2000s. However, when he went public with this information, we saw much discontent from many world governments. For example, the Trump administration, according to the New York Times in January of this year, removed the Pandemic Response Unit from the National Security Council in early 2017. And China refused to allow World Health Organization inspectors into their country when the coronavirus first appeared, showing that these models are not being used to predict where the next disease will appear. And as of the date of this recording, April 13th, 2020, over 1.5 million people have contracted the coronavirus across the globe, 50,000 of which have died. showing that if these algorithms were listened to, we could have potentially saved lives across the globe. Now that we've discussed how these algorithms are currently being used, we'll look at the future implications, discussing the positives and negatives. First, the positives. According to Alison Kurian, Director of Health and Medicine at Stanford University, in June of 2019, she argues that these algorithms could allow us to predict patient risk, because according to the University of Rome, in August of 2018, that these algorithms can't just be used for asthma. Instead, they can be tailored on specific MRI, fMRI, and CAT scans, meaning they can be applied to a variety of other diseases, including lung, pancreatic, and heart cancers, along with diseases such as asthma, allowing us to cast a wide net and predict health outcomes for those in underserved communities around the world. However, there are two main drawbacks to this technology as well. The first is computing power, because that Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation algorithm I just discussed earlier took weeks to process. However, this could easily be fixed by using quantum computers. For those of you who don't know, a quantum computer is an informative topic from the early 2000s. It's also just a faster supercomputer. For example, Google AI, which was published on October 28, 2019, completed a task in 100 seconds that would have taken the world's fastest supercomputer 10,000 years to complete. This is huge. This allows the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and MIT to update their models in real time, allowing us to adapt to changing world conditions and even adapt to localities of where people live. So if you're enrolled in that MIT beta test for asthma detection, it could change its detection and likelihood of you getting an asthma attack based on changing air quality around where you live. Second, patient privacy. Many patients are rightfully concerned in an era of smart speakers and smart devices that their data is going to be sold to the highest bidder, like a life or health insurance company, thus making their rates go up. MIT, in their May 7th article of 2019, says this is an easy fix. If doctors simply just tell patients about their rights under the Health and Information Patient Privacy Act, or HIPAA, patients can rest easy, knowing that their information cannot be bought and sold to the highest bidder, and that it would encourage more patients to roll into these beta tests of these algorithms, potentially helping speed up development, saving lives down the road. Today, we've discussed how these algorithms work, which then led us to how they're being used today to predict COVID-19, and finally, their positive and negative implications. As someone who has asthma, these algorithms are huge for me. They could predict when I get a next asthma attack, and as someone who is at high risk, according to the CDC as of this morning, for contracting and potentially dying of COVID-19, knowing where these diseases are going to appear and spread next can help many immunocompromised and asthma-related people when it comes to respiratory illnesses like COVID-19. Meaning that a college student in America and a remote villager in China could find more in common than they might expect through deep learning algorithms, as these algorithms could help us predict where the next pandemic might occur and when the next asthma attack of a college student could be, potentially leaving our world happier, healthier, and safer for decades to come.